persnickety. It's depressing me that I need to close Twitter, but there's all this, well, look what the media did. Like, sorry, that's not how, I don't think that's how anything works. Explain how you
can't talk on the podcast because he's on Twitter. This happens, by the way, Jared, we're not going into later in the like multiple times in the podcast. They're talking about other woke shit or whatever. Like, I don't know. I guess their main thing is like woke. Like everybody he's like analyzing who's woke and whatever. And in the middle of it, he's like, I'm sorry, I was reading Twitter. I was reading Twitter about Arday, and like he's reading about all the mentions about him. I also think it's funny that he thinks that anyone on Blue Sky is more hated than him. That's funny because nobody. Blue Sky hates Jesse Singal more than any fucking person on earth, actually. I think for pretty good reason, actually, having endured some of this podcast. But to be in this podcast here, in this thing, you're immediately reacting to this, and you are talking about it's Nathan Cofnas. I've been calling him Nick. Who gives a shit what his name is? Nathan Cofnas's balls. You're talking about Nathan Cofnas's balls. You're like, he's got huge balls, this guy. I don't know, about all this stuff, about all the skull measuring, but his balls are massive because he published this, oppo dump someone gave him referring to plagiarism that should have been, again, in a trade publication.
Let's hear how they kick it to the main subject of the episode, because this is really something.
All right. Speaking of academia, should we move on?
All right. Well, that sad note out of the way. Let's get to today's episode, which is about wokeness. We have a few different sort of intersecting, overlapping stories, and the reason we're focusing on them is because there's been a little bit of an uptick in discussion of wokeness. Would you say not? That was very contrived, throwing it to you. Would you say not, Katie, about the uptick in the discourse about wokeness?
I would not say not.
Who listens to this?
Who listens to this fucking show, dude?
Who listens to this?
So there's been, I'm trying to do your thing. There's been an uptick in wokeness. It seems like, Katie, would you agree there's been Yeah, I would say there's a couple of wokeness. There's a lot of wokeness going on.
Also just to be like, okay, yeah, this guy wrote this. So I wrote this thing in the New York Times, just really cranking the heat up and putting this fucking shit show anti-DSA or anti-DEI, anti-whatever, in the paper of record in the New York Times. And shortly thereafter, there's news that the subject has killed himself. With that sad news out of the way, let's talk about wokeness. Are you fucking kidding me? What a monster, dude.
If anyone...
What a monster. My personal beliefs here. Fucking monster.
Yeah, he's horrible. And he's a horrible person. I will quick Jesse Singal story and in a second. But I think that is really important here. They have just gotten news that someone that he wrote about recently has killed himself. And this is how they're reacting. They're like, well, actually, I wish these people on Twitter would shut up because actually, and the Blue Sky thing, and like he's obsessed with Blue Sky too because they don't like him. You know what I would be like if someone I wrote about and I did a lot of serious reporting on killed himself? I'd be very quiet. And the reason why is because I would want to reflect. I would like a little bit of time to reflect on what happened. I want to know. I would not rule out the possibility that my reporting played a role in this. And I would want to think about it. And maybe after a lot of thought, I wouldn't feel so bad because I would come up with a bunch of different explanations or something like that. And maybe I would say, no, my work was right. I did the right thing here. But immediately afterwards, I'm going to be pretty quiet about it. And if something like that happened before we went on the air for our podcast, I might say something solemnly about it, because you never wish for people to die. And obviously Singal is not wishing for Arday to die. I'm not saying that. It's more that it's just like immediately his first reaction is to hash out what's happening on his fucking favorite app, Twitter.
It's just heartless is what it is. Like,
totally.
I can't listen to that and come to the idea that Jesse Singal thought that Jason Arday was a person. He was a character that Jesse got to write about in the New York Times.
Yeah, and one other thing that he brings up in this, and I'm so fucking pissed listening to this fucking guy. He really fucking gets my blood pressure up. But one thing that's important to point out here, he says, imagine, maybe it's Katie Herzog, whatever the fuck, who cares? She says, imagine if Nathan Cofnas and Arday were reversed. Everybody on Blue Sky would be celebrating. You know what? That's not fucking true, genius. You know why? Because no one will fucking hear about it.
Right.
The reason we're hearing about it is because Jason Arday was a black professor who is a young black professor who is readily associated with issues they consider to be woke and became a target in a time in which Trumpism and Trumpist ideologies are big all over the West. It is the sort of dominant ideologies we talked about here. They don't have the cover of like, look what the libs are doing to us anymore. So this was an opportunity for have a field day about one particular guy. That's where they could filter all the type of shit they used to do during the Biden years into one person for a few weeks.